Hello Jam gamers, welcome back to another video on 7 Days to Die specific for console. Now today we're going to be looking at two classic Horde bases, the one on the right and the left there, and let's just jump into the first one. So the first one's going to be that larger square one you've seen. You can do a miniature version which is 5 by 5. This one's going to be a 12 by 12, so I've got 10 of my wedges in between. But let's go ahead and crack on. Now, you see I've got my wedges of wood and concrete in my hotbar. It's just to demonstrate that we can actually build it early game for a very good horde base early on. Okay, so you don't need much time, you don't need the resources, you don't need a cement mixer to crack on and get this horde base or horde defense system sorted. Flipping over to concrete there, you can see slapping it down. These are the wedge tips. You want the slope, the narrowest part on the outside of your build. That is going to be where the zombies are going to push up. And we'll see a bit later on in action. Stick around to the end of the video to see that. But this is probably my favourite, and we'll go through why. It's cheap materials, like I say. You can upgrade the wood, you can upgrade the concrete, and it's just a decent base. Poles going across, and the poles need to be on the downward side of the block, on the inside. Again, we'll show you later why that is, but in short, it's so that the zombies don't hit you. The wedge tip is going to raise them, so they punch through the gap, and that gap between the pole and the wedge tip is going to prevent crawlers from hitting you as well. But let's fly along, slapping those poles down. I'm building this really, I'm running out of time. If you can see the time of day there, it's approaching 10 o'clock, it's approaching night time. But I'm throwing it up relatively quickly. And once you know, you know, like a lot of these things on 7 Days to Die. We know we haven't had an update in many years, but this is still a very viable option as a horde base. Let's pop these wooden frames along the top. Now you'll see that the poles, where they're on the inside, crawlers, or rather the spider zombies, will be able to climb up the face of the poles, but they'll get stopped by these wooden frames along the top. Now zombies can't hit up, not the crawlers, not whilst they're crawling up the walls, so that it can just be wood. Even if you're doing this for 100% out of concrete, just leave it as wood. It creates that lip to stop them getting over the top. Really, the only thing you may need to worry about, if you don't want to put a roof on this, is only if you're building it in the city, really, for the wasps or the hornets that can be spawned. Really rare is it that the screamers are going to spawn in hornets, but it can happen. I've seen it happen, or even though on some of the wikis it says that they can't. They can! Now after a quick tidy up, let's just run around upgrading the wood where we can, upgrading these side columns. The zombies are extremely unlikely to hit or destroy those side columns because there's so much of an open face, or what they see as an open face, along the sides, along the flanks. So don't worry too much. Well, I wouldn't, but you could, in your concrete version, still build those very corner pieces, corner frames out of wood. Moving on to the second one then, so we've got this rather slopey biome or slopey area here that we're going to build a second one. Now this is again an absolutely viable option, but it's lesser of my favourites, and I've experimented with some more bases which you can see in the background actually if you're eagle-eyed, if you're an eagle-eyed viewer, and there'll be a separate video on that squeaky base coming out very soon. So check that out as another option. But these are the 50 wide poles. These are going to be the cobblestone frames. You can build the 50s out of other materials as well. So just tap 50 into your search bar and it'll bring up the various options that you've got. I'm just doing it out of cobblestone because that's what I had available at the time. This is when I'll ventured off into a new area to go mining on a biome border where I've got 3 coming together with a 4th really close by. So I just wanted a nice mixture of different resource possibilities. You just want to do it in a square here. I've left out one corner just for the purpose of this video. Otherwise you'd really want a vault door or something in the middle there to go up and down. You can stick in a hatch elevator maybe. There'll be a sneak peek of that later on in this video, and I'm going to be making a separate video on hatch elevators and a little showcase of a number of different uses that I have on my world for it. Now, we'll fly around, we'll upgrade these poles. It does take a while, but wow. I mean, the nail gun, it's probably one of my favourite items in the game. It flies through the upgrading and repairs. Love it, love it, love it. Even the lower level ones, chef's kiss. They're amazing. Now don't do this on yours, but I'm going to build a ladder just for this demonstration to go in and out. So we've got the inward one there. You see you can just jump in, and all the gaps in between those poles are where you'll be able to strike through, shoot through to zombies. But be careful of destroying the ladders there. The hitboxes do overlap and you will destroy them if you're going to keep your ladders on the inside. But as you can see there, the hammer hits straight through that gap reasonably easily. You are pushed against the poles for the most reliable strike through, but it is relatively easy to get through. I would recommend shooting through. It's a great option for shooting. Sometimes melee, if you're not right up against the face, you are going to hit those poles and the durability is going to go down faster, and you and the zombies hitting them isn't going to be a good combo. Let's flip over to the square one, the one with the poles and the wedges. This is my favourite. So the zombie here, she's up on the ramp and she's striking through the gap. She cannot hit it. She cannot do damage. That's why it's so good. So I definitely recommend doing this one. It's so good early on and late game. It's just easy. It's a basic one, sure. It's a classic. But you know, the classics are sometimes the best. Annoyingly, this crawler is stuck a little bit on the elevation there. I haven't flattened out the ground. That's why he was doing damage to the pole. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to reach. He'd be striking through the gap lower down there. But yeah, like I say, because I haven't evened out the sand behind him, it's got that tiny, tiny inch or two where his strikes are just hitting quite that step above. Otherwise, this one, again, like I say, it's probably my favourite. It's one of the easiest to build. I'd strongly recommend. I'll very quickly demonstrate the hatch elevator. We'll drop down onto hay bales, woo, spoilers, which will break your fall from any height. Jump into the hatches and bang, it pops you to the top. So swiftly moving on, we've flown over to the other side of the bases, and this is a quick demonstration of the squeaky base. So named after the lovely turn of phrase, squeaky bum time. It's very tight, it's very narrow, but there is going to be a separate video on this, so if you are interested in how it works and how to build it, or how I built it, check out that video. It'll be coming out in the next couple of days, or it'll be later on in the channel if you're watching in the future. We're actually building on our 4-player jam world, so with all 4 of us, so we do a weekly games night. We've got one of these in the city, built specifically for Horde nights, but it's a bit bigger. It has 4 avenues in it, and I'll make a video on that very soon as well. So keep an eye out for that one, or go check it out if you're in the future. But jumping into the 50-pole horde base concept, we can see here that we can strike through the gaps reasonably easy when the zombies are pushed up against there, but we do catch the frames a little bit as we go, so that's why I'd recommend shooting through them with your bolts or bullets. But really, that's it for these 2 classic concepts. Hopefully you liked the video. Please give us a like. It really helps the channel out. And subscribe. We would love that very much. And let us know if there's other things that you want us to cover. Give us a shout and we'll prioritise different picks. Thanks for watching. Check you on the next one.